Hey everybody, it's Mark Pereira here. Just gonna do a quick video here. I'm driving around doing errands and stuff like that and taking care of stuff. Um, I've been dealing with some things, talking with some people, and I mean, it's nothing major or anything like that. It just, when I see patterns, when I see things that are recognizable, things that I could talk to you guys about, I want to bring that about and share the information about topics that I feel are important, especially in regarding religion and the heathen community and our faith and how we move forward and how we develop the religion and understand it properly, right? And the one thing, and I've made videos about this before, but I really think that it's important to try to continue to show people how to look past people who are scamming you, people who are lying to you, people who are making up things and are trying to trick you and all that stuff. And the reason why I do that is not to say that my work is better than anybody's or that I'm better than anybody or anything like that. It's to try to help people to avoid from being abused. I'm not saying that anybody out there is abusing anybody. I'm just saying that this is a slippery slope towards that. Okay. You see that a lot of that happens in other religions and stuff like that because of this very thing. And what I'm talking about is the appeal to authority fallacy. Okay. When you're trying to establish authority on something, you have to have that authority has to be built upon some sort of foundation, and that foundation has to have truth behind it. If it doesn't have truth behind it, then you set yourself up for all manner of problems, issues, and abuse, like we said. And, we see that when you look at like American Protestantism or some European Protestantism and stuff like that, they're riddled with this. They have a lot of problems with people scamming people, hurting people, abusing people, because they have so many different sects, and anybody can set up a sect. And so there's a lot of different ways that people manipulate things, and they turn things around, and they take it from one branch of a group to another branch of a group. And it's always like some guy who decides that he's got a different interpretation of the Bible, and he wants to be aggrandized for that. And then he goes off and sets up this group, and he has people do all these weird things. And, and then he ends up finding out he's like sexually abusing people or hurting them or whatever. You see a lot of these weird cults and compounds and stuff like that where that's happening. You just see a lot of this take place. Right. And that's because there was never any foundation of understanding on how people could do that, how people could, move forward and building sects and things like that. They just kind of just do whatever they want, and you really can't stop that in any regards, right? But what you can do is you can teach people truth, and you can stand up to people who are doing that. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to stand up for what is true, what is right, and what is a correct way of building a religion, so that not to say that like you're gonna force things on people or stuff like that. I know people are always weirded out by that, but it's to say that if you don't have some sort of truth, then you open yourself up to lies, right? You just have all of these people around you that are just gonna lie to you and just say things to you to make themselves seem like they're better than they actually are, in order to get you to do things that you normally wouldn't do, or to allow things that they're doing that you normally wouldn't allow, and that's why it's important. That's why it's important to establish truth, to build a foundation of that, right? So, we've been getting in debates with people. We've, over the years, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then we see people and we recognize things that they're doing. We see what they're trying to go for and all that stuff. And the one thing you have to recognize, I strongly recommend anybody who is getting into this religion is, first off, understand how appeal to authority fallacy is developed, right? It's super important. It's just so important that you do that, right? Because if you do that, if you establish if you understand how appeal to authority works, right? Not just the basis of what it is, but how it works, right? Then a lot of these people won't be able to scam you. Just look at them and just be like, dude, you're a clown. Like, you're just a appeal to authority, whatever. And then you're putting yourself on a pedestal, and you're trying to claim yourself as the authority, the basis for this, rather than what it actually is. right? And that's why us at the Norna Society, you know, we spend, I mean, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours working on this stuff to understand the source material on it, so that we can show you the source material and then show you how to make up your own mind on it, and then develop what we're going to develop, and, you know, actually build authority around those sources, around what we know, the actual information around it, right? And so what happens is, a lot of these people, you know, the big thing, the first thing you got to look at is when you go, like, if you look at somebody and they come to you and they put like 1 million badges on their chest or whatever, that's a red flag. Like, that's something you should definitely see as first being like, why do you have all of these badges? Like, you know, you see like some of them when you go in their abouts on Facebook or whatever, you know, you'll see they have like 1 million titles and stuff, and they're this and that and the other, and they have these credentials and those credentials and that credentials, and they're a you know, a super high guru of authority, Gaudi, Al-Sir Al-Ghazi, super wonderful, you know, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's like, what is any of that based on? You know, it's not to say that like the titles don't matter, but the titles should have a basis. They should have a foundation. Like, where did you get that? You know? And so like when you have this, you know, like that this person actually is from a certain institution or a certain school of thought or something like that. But if it's just something they're just throwing on themselves, then that means like straight up they're trying to scam you, you know, and you should call those people out like every time. But a lot of times people don't want to call people out, you know, and that's why the Norna Society, we get in a lot of fights with people, because we do call those people out, and we don't hold any bars on that, because we are here to tell the people the truth, to try to understand the truth and show the faith. And then everything that we do, every single thing that we do, we back up with source material, like everything. We don't ever not do that, you know, because we know that that's the truth. That's our truth. Like, that's the truth behind it. That's what we know. That's the knowledge on the faith. That's what it is. And, you know, we try to work through the source material and understand it better. And sometimes we get things wrong, and we admit it, and we, you know, go back and fix it and try to make things better in the future and all that stuff, right? And that's what we've been trying to do. And so you have some people that'll come around and they'll say, you know, well, I speak Icelandic, so therefore I know everything, and I've got all of it. Or some of them, we've actually caught some of them claiming that they're archaeologists, and they'll tell people, I've actually seen like posts and stuff where they're telling people that they're archaeologists, and that those people, other people, should just sit down and shut up and let them speak. And it's like, dude, like, I've never met a real archaeologist that would talk like that, you know? And like an archaeologist, people who are real, like PhDs and stuff like that, I mean, I you know, some of them aren't worthy of respect, but there are a lot of them that are. And typically those people are just people who are obsessed with learning and just want to know. They just want to know, what do you got to say? What is your contribution on this? And if you have something to contribute and it's something interesting, they'll want to explore that. But if it's just some jerk who wants to be an authority figure and just tell people what to do, he's going to tell you to sit down and shut up. And you shouldn't ever listen to a person like that, like ever. Don't ever listen to them, because they're setting you up for something. You know, they're setting you up for something that could be harmful to you, and you don't know that. You don't know what it is. It could be they're just trying to get money from you, or they just want prestige, or they just want something from you, like likes or YouTube subscriptions or whatever, you know. And so they come up with these things, and they tell people that they have these credentials when they don't have them, or they say that they can speak a language, or that they can't speak, or that they understand this material that they don't. And it's like, and so whenever I see that, you know, my question is always like, I always look for the origins. Like, why? It's not just that you're doing this and I should just freak out about it and get mad about it. It's like, why are you doing it? Why would you make up a credential? Why would you come up with something that you don't have, that you didn't go to school for, that you're not credentialed in, that you don't have this anything for this, you know, like you're just making it up. You're just coming in to an arena and you're claiming that you have all of these titles and these badges and all this stuff, and that we're supposed to listen to you because you have that, right? And you don't have that, so why are you doing that? Like, what is the point behind it? Well, obviously it's something nefarious. Obviously it's something that you're doing because you want something out of people other than the actual knowledge of this religion. So that's why you should be avoided. You know, that's why you should be called out on that stuff, because you shouldn't be able to just get away with that. Because if you do, you know, even if you are just a person that just wants aggrandizement, and that's what a lot of these people are. They just want to be put on a pedestal. They just want to be worshipped. They just want to be treated like they're the greatest thing ever. but then, like, if you just keep allowing that in and you keep allowing that in, then eventually you're going to get worse and worse people, people who want to abuse people, people who want to hurt people, people who want to fulfill their own desires on individuals and use this as a platform to do so. And that's harmful, and we don't ever want that to be allowed, to be accepted. And other religions have done that, and they were lax on it, and they did sit back and just rest on their laurels while this happened. Mainly because people already had worked their way into higher positions and actually did the work and all that stuff, and they started abusing people with the authority, with the actual authority, And so, like, once you get that, then that becomes a bigger problem, because you've taken the courses and you've learned and you've got the actual knowledge, but you're also abusing people because that's what you want. So we have to be vigilant for that as well, right? But a lot of these people aren't. They're just scammers. They're just trying to hurt you. They're just trying to take something from you. They're just trying to get aggrandizement, And so you got to look for the warning signs. You got to look for, things that when they're just doing that. I had one person, had 1 million of those badges on their Facebook profile or whatever, and they were sitting there accusing me of, like, using bad translations, and they spoke the native language and they knew what they were doing and they had all this authority. And I was like, okay, fine. If I'm using a bad translation, here's the Old Norse. What does it say? And then they would just kind of went back into, you're just using bad translations. And I was like, dude, we translated this. Like, we looked at every single word step by step and examined it closely and spent weeks, like, just discussing a single word sometimes, because we want to know, we want to understand it. So if you've got a better one, then show me how it works. Show me what we're doing wrong. And they can't, because they're not trying to understand it. They're not trying to get to the heart of it. They're trying to set themselves up as a guru or some sort of authority on it, some sort of leader, and you should listen to them and listen to them always. And you just shouldn't do that. Like, it's harmful. It's harmful to religion in general. Not just our religion, in any religion. It's harmful to have people like that and allow them to get away with it, And you see that. I mean, you see, like, scandals and stuff like that come out. We remember, like, scandals with, like, university coaches and stuff like that. And those people get there, and the higher ups who don't like it, they don't like it, but it's like, well, this guy's like this, and it's really hard to replace this, and this is really difficult, and we spent a lot of time and money and effort and energy to get this person here, and now here it is, this is happening, maybe we can just sweep it under the rug, and then it'll be better. And then that institution gets caught doing that, and then it's way worse for everybody. So that's why you should just never allow that. Like, never allow abuses, never allow scammers, never allow people to come in and just make a mockery of this. I mean, we're going to end up where we're going to have, like, our own version of the snake handlers and stuff like that, because they claim that they have some authority and that we should be handling Jormungandr or something. We got our own snake handlers, and it's just like, you just have to always build a litmus. You always have to build a true north, so that when you're practicing the faith, you always know that you're established on a firm foundation of truth and knowledge. And that's what's important, that you are, not these people who want to have titles and authority. And I understand that people, people typically, you don't have the time, you don't have the effort, the ability to go in and just sit there and do these thousands and thousands of hours of work on this research. I know that. I'm not ridiculous about that. I understand that this is, people have to live their lives and they have to do what they do, right? But what I'm saying is that you can do, if you're looking at a topic, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. If you're looking at a topic and someone is presenting information to you, or they're telling you that they're the authority and that they should be listened to and all that stuff, just question them. That's all you got to do. It doesn't take any effort to question somebody, And, like, people have come onto our forums and, like, they don't realize that they're entering the lion's den. Our forums are open forums where we discuss things. We don't put up with fights. We don't want people coming and stirring garbage, right? But they know they have to know that when you come on a Norna forum and you present a theory, that theory is always going to be questioned, always. And we look over anything, and it's okay that we do it. And we understand that when we, sometimes we get into it over it and stuff like that. It's like, well, that's not right. And I can show this, and here's this source, that source, right? And it happens, and we accept that, and it's part of it, But when you have people come on and they're like, no, you can't do that. You got to listen to me because I'm this and that, and you should listen to this, and you guys aren't anything. You're not real, and I'm real, and you're not, and blah, blah, blah. And I speak Icelandic, and I speak this language and that language. And it's like all these people come on our forums and they just can't hack it. You know, they can't handle being questioned. And when somebody can't handle being questioned, that means that they're trying to set themselves up as a guru. That means that their ego is so fragile that they can't handle it. It's like, dude, we're just sharing information. No one's personally attacking you, but they look at it as a personal attack. They look at it as something where it's like, you know, where we're trying to hurt them personally, because they see this as connected to them personally, because it's their own personal journey to try to lord themselves over other people, you know. And that's what happens, you know. That's what happens when those guys can't handle it. And I've come across so many of them over the years, just so many of them. You know, they write a book and they come to me and they want me to edit the book, and then I go to edit it, and like when I have asked people to edit my books, I'm like, dude, you know, I'll get mad at them if they're not brutal enough. I'm like, dude, you have to be brutal on this. You can't be nice. If you're nice, it's not going to be a good book. If you're brutal on it and you're like, look, this sucks, we can't use this is dumb, we got to scrap this, blah, 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 that stuff right there helps me, because then I can figure out like how to make it better, right? But if you come to me and you're like, oh, I read the book and it was the most wonderful book ever, and you're fantastic and you should just be, you know, praised as some wonderful person, and I'm like, that doesn't help me at all. You know, and I don't want that. But then, so when other people ask me to edit their books, and I've only edited a few, right, but like I did, and they just like broke their hearts and they couldn't handle it and they freaked out and they never talked to me again, you know. And it's like, well, that's because you don't want to put out a book. You want to, you know, set up a cult of personality. You want to have the appeal to authority fallacy. You want to walk around, you know, strutting your stuff and telling everybody what to do and have all these people listen to you, you know. And like this just not how we need to be developing this, you know. And that's not to say, like, there are religions that develop exactly the way that we're doing it, you know. There are religions that build upon knowledge of the faith and understand it and have schools of thought around it. The Shinto come to mind, the Hindus come to mind. You know, they build things around knowledge and understanding and building the faith around what it is rather than what someone claims it to be, because they want to be a guru or a leader or have some fancy title, you know. And I do believe that fancy titles should exist at some point, but those fancy titles need to exist around trusted institutions where people that you know are going in, delving into this stuff, so that when somebody walks up with that badge, then you can say, okay, that means something. That they graduated from this school or came from this you know, certain institution, and they built something because that building of something means something, you know. And that's what it is, you know. And it's not like, you know, we're trying to establish a Vatican. I'm sure some people will say that or whatever. It's not about that. It's about, if you just keep letting all these scam artists just run rampant and just keep doing what they're doing, you're going to end up in a really bad situation. And you can say that you're not, but you're gonna, you know, like, that's just a fact, you know. And it's going to end up being some kind of huge scandal, and it's going to bring all of us under fire, because you know how people are, right? So that's just my 2 cents on that. And you know, everybody should just be keeping up and watching these people, and you know, don't ever let anybody tell you to sit down and shut up, because they are who they are. I've seen that. I've seen people send me screenshots of somebody doing that, and it disgusts me. Like, and if you let that person talk to you like that, man, then you know, you're just a coward. You know, that's it. Like, don't let them talk to you like that. If they sit there and they're like, you know, oh, I'm an archaeologist, you need to sit down and shut up. Be like, no, you need to sit down and shut up. Let's not talk to you. Everybody will just ignore you now because you're a jerk, you know. And just don't let people talk to you like that, because there's no need for that, and it's uncalled for. And if they can't back up their sources, and they can't back up what they're saying, can't back up what they're doing, and they just got to use their appeal to authority, well, then they just don't need to be listened to. And that's that. All right, I got to go. I got stuff to do. Everybody have a great day. Hope you share this video, because I want everybody to see this. It's important for people to know this stuff and be able to start looking out for people doing this. All right, have a good day, and hail the gods.